Hello everyone, back tuning in today's second video. So we've already done the first seasonal model roundup for the summer of 2017. That's here on the homepage. Just scroll down a bit underneath link ads. We get 8 long range models together and see what they're all showing. If you want a warm, dry summer, could be good news, but I'll let you have a look at that and see what you think. Later on today, that's going to be placed on the summer updates page, and there'll be a written report that goes with that as well on the summer updates page. That'll be sometime this evening. This is regards to this Sunday roundup. So we're going to get various things together, a bit of an eclectic mix. We're going to have a look at solar activity. We're going to have a look at what's happening in the stratosphere, the index, Arctic oscillation, North Atlantic oscillation as well, and see what's going on in terms of Arctic sea ice and weather next week to 10 days also, obviously. So I'll get on with that for you in a moment, but just want to start off with this is Mete weather instrumentation. Over the past few days I've been dropping a few hints of something that's coming up at GWV in April. I can reveal that we're going to be launching another competition in a couple of weeks' time with Mete weather instrumentation. So, this is going to be the fourth one, the fourth giveaway that we've done. Again, we're teaming up with Mete to give away a fabulous prize. This is Mete's page here, their website. They give away fantastic items. I can scroll down and show you some of the items that they're selling at Mete Weather Instrumentation. Really high quality items and very bespoke as well. And this year, the prize that we're going to give away, I'm not going to tell you what prize is just yet, but prize we're giving away this year is a very unique and very bespoke item. It will be something that we haven't done before. It'll be very unique indeed. So I'm really pleased with the prize that we're going to be giving away to you this year. Ourselves, GWV and Mete Weather Instrumentation. Now, this competition will be starting in a couple of weeks, so we'll be starting it on Sunday the 9th of April, and we'll be going for a week. We'll be running it for a week until Sunday the 16th of April, which of course is Easter Sunday. So for Easter this year, you're not only going to get your Easter eggs, you'll also potentially get a prize from GWV. I'll have much more about it over the next few days. I'll tell you how to enter, we'll reveal what the prize is, etc. as we go through the next couple of weeks. But I just wanted to tell you to get ready, because we've got another competition, our fourth one that we've done at GWV in association with Mete Weather Instrumentation. Got another competition coming up in April, so look out for that. Right, let's start off with solar activity then. This is the solar disc on our side of this today from solarham.net. We have got some sunspot areas. We've got one just there and one just here as well, although officially solar activity is at very low levels. This is because whether it's spring season daily solar activity tracker. It's been updated by our friend James. That will be thank you, James, for updating this and sending it through to us. So we have seen some sunspots over the past few days. When we did the GWV Sunday Round Up last week, we was going through a prolonged period, really quite a prolonged period of no sunspot activity at all. I think we had around 10 days, possibly a couple of weeks of no sunspots at all. That ended over the past few days. We have had some sunspots, although the level of sunspots that we're at the moment is at a very low level now. So the trend lines, which is the green line just here and the red line just here, red line being most important because that's the sunspot number trend. So the trend lines are all still moving downwards. We are still declining in terms of the trend. And I say we have had a few sunspots over the past few days, but still at very low levels. Well, of course, we're moving into solar minimum. We won't arrive at true solar minimum for around 18 months, something like that. But nevertheless, we are going to see the trend very much moving downwards rapidly over the next few months and the next year or so. Big thank you to James, as always, for updating that GWV's tracker for us. So moving on to the stratosphere, this is the temperature chart at at 10 HPA over the North Pole in terms of the stratosphere. The black line here tells us where the temperatures have been this season, going back to last September, where the temperatures have been this season. The grey line is the trend line, and you can see that we should be moving upwards now excuse me, in terms of the temperature at 10 HPA in the stratosphere over the North Pole. So we are moving up to our peak of those stratospheric temperatures, which occurs, of course, in the summer. Well, where we are right now, we're very much on trend. We're very much where you'd expect us to be at this point in the year, really. So, not a great deal of interest, actually, going on there. Same is true for 30 HPA as well. The black line tells us where we've been this season. We did have a big warming in those stratospheric temperatures at the end of January. Didn't quite reach the level of a sudden stratospheric warming, however, and this is where we are right now. Again, we're very much on trend, very much where you'd expect temperatures to be at 10 HPA or at 30 HPA in the North Pole at this point in the year. It doesn't look like we're going to have a sudden stratospheric warming to sort of be a killing blow to the polar vortex this year, unlike what we had last year, because we did have a sudden stratospheric warming at the end of February into March last year, which eventually, I think, had some role to play anyway in the blocking that we had in April last year. We had some unusually cold weather in April last year, especially late on. Doesn't look like we're going to have a repeat this year, but let's have a look at the GFS temperature forecast for 10 HPA over the North Pole. So this is how things are currently looking, as I say, generally about where you'd expect those temperatures to be at that level of the atmosphere. We go through into the start of April, very little change really. We keep the temperature about on trend for the time of year into the start of April, and then we go through beyond that, and we move into the first week of April, then into the second week of April. Temperatures are lifting up, but certainly it's not a dramatic lift up in temperatures, just again slowly rising with the temperatures as you'd expect us to do so at this point in the year. So there's no sign of a sudden stratospheric warming, which means we have a minimal risk of getting true northern blocking going, I think, this April, unlike what we saw last year. This is the latest in terms of the snow cover across Siberia and Eurasia. So you see that now much of Europe is snow-free, away from the mountainous areas such as the Pyrenees and the Alps. Most of Europe now is snow-free. Of course, we come up to Scandinavia. We've got deep snow cover there in the north of Scandinavia still. And most of Russia, away from the far west, most of Russia and Siberia still covered with snow. That's all going to melt over the next couple of months, but for the time being it's still early in terms of Scandinavia and Russia, so there we still have quite a lot of snow cover, but most of Europe now is snow free. In terms of Arctic sea ice extent, so we reached our peak of Arctic sea ice earlier on in March. That's where the peak occurred, just there. Now we're beginning to move down, so we're beginning to move into the melt season, and you see that we are well below trend, well below where you'd expect us to be, the average, which is this thick grey line just here, well below that. So it's been another pretty poor season in terms of Arctic sea ice coverage over the North Pole. We're also underneath 2012. That's the death spiral year. That's indicated by this green dash line just here. You see how we went into the death spiral in 2012 with the Arctic melt season. Terrible ice loss during that particular melt season, and at the moment we are underneath that. Now that doesn't mean at all that we are going to see another death spiral for this melt season. It may be, but as we go through the melt season we'll see a recovery, and we have seen this a little bit over the past few years actually. So if you have a look at 2016, we are actually about where we was at this point in 2016, a little bit lower, and you see that in 2016 we was underneath 2012, the death spiral year. But what happened is that eventually there was a bit of a recovery, or the losses weren't as great, if you like, from this point just here. We kind of went into where we was in 2012, and then actually in September last year we finished up above the death spiral. So just because we're below 2012 at the moment in terms of ice coverage doesn't mean that we're going to have another death spiral year. But obviously it's not a great position to be starting off with in terms of Arctic sea ice. We'll be keeping an eye on that, of course, over the next few months. I haven't spoken about this for a little while. This is the QBO, the quasi-biennial oscillation. So the QBO is still westerly. It's been westerly for a very, very long time. Now, when the QBO, the quasi-biennial oscillation, is westerly, it tells you that the zonal winds in the northern hemisphere, particularly around the pole, the zonal winds are strengthened. The zonal westerlies are stronger. So westerly QBOs tend to go with milder winters, whereas easterly QBOs, and on these charts, easterly QBOs are indicated by these white areas just here. Easterly QBOs are when the zonal winds, particularly again around the pole, when the zonal winds are weakened, and they sometimes reverse and go easterly. So that is associated with not a guarantee, but an increased risk of northern blocking. Now, we were supposed to go into an easterly QBO in the second half of 2016, just here. What actually happened is that it failed. We know the weather, the climate did something utterly unique and something it's never done before, as far as we know anyway, certainly back to the early part of the 20th century. We had the failure of the easterly QBO. The westerly QBO continued into the second half of 2016, and we're still in the westerly QBO now, as you can see with this dark grey area just here. No sign of an easterly QBO trying to come back. The first signs of it will be a white area appearing up here. No sign of a white area appearing yet. We continue to look out for an easterly QBO. So at the moment, it looks like the summer certainly is going to be a westerly QBO summer. What that means we'll be examining with the summer updates during April and May. Arctic oscillation next. So we know the temperature in the stratosphere over North Pole is still around where you'd expect it to be. We haven't had a sudden stratospheric warming, so consequently there's no real sign of northern blocking, no sign of the Arctic oscillation going particularly negative. So this is the observed and forecast chart with for the Arctic oscillation. The black line here tells us where the Arctic oscillation has been going back into the start of the winter. And red lines where the GFS ensembles are forecasting the Arctic oscillation to go. So for most of the winter, it was a positive AO winter, was a positive Arctic oscillation winter, as you can see. We had one period of negativity just there, which occurred in the first half of February, when we got a bit of a Scandinavian high going. But generally, the Arctic oscillation has been trending positive through this winter. And of course, it's not driving anything. The Arctic oscillation is just an index that's telling you what the atmosphere is doing, if you like. And when the Arctic oscillation is positive like this, it tells you that the westerlies across the Atlantic into Europe, they're going to be increased. They're going to be stronger, with the cold air tend to be bottled up further north. So the forecast generally is to keep the Arctic oscillation in positive territory. There we are. There's April the 1st just there. That's the middle part of April just there. Generally, the forecast is to keep the Arctic oscillation positive. There are a few members of the GFS ensembles that are going negative there around the middle of April. That's a very long way off. I think overall that's pretty good agreement even into April for the Arctic oscillation to stay positive. Had a long run now of positivity of the Arctic oscillation. These things tend to move in sort of several months together, like, so you tend to get 3 or 4 months of positivity and then 3 or 4 months of negativity and so on. So we've had a long run now of positive AO condition. You would expect this to start going negative at some point pretty soon, and if we coincide that with the summer, there is a risk we'll get northern blocking through the summer, and that might not be terribly good news if you want a warm and dry summer, despite today's model update looking pretty good for warm, dry weather for summer If the Arctic Oscillation was to flip and we got blocking for the summer, then that wouldn't be, potentially anyway, it wouldn't be very good news. North Atlantic Oscillation, very similar. So again, the black line tells us where we've been with the NAO. The red line's at the end where GFS Ensembles forecasting the NAO to go. So again, it's been a positive NAO winter, just as it's been a positive AO winter. We are moving it downwards a little bit with North Atlantic Oscillation, just down to neutral really, not going into a negative NAO, but it looks like it's reducing a little bit over the next couple of weeks into the first half of April. But as I say, it's only going down to neutral. There's no sign of it going particularly negative. So again, I think both the indexes are telling us as we're going into April, we're probably likely to keep things generally quite mild. That's certainly what the GFS ensembles are indicating. So the red line here is the 30-year upper air temperature average. You can see that we're significantly mild on average at the moment. Forecast to stay so up to start of April, that's April the 1st, just there, still mild on average then. A little bit of a decline in temperature taking place over the weekend, next weekend, and then the temperatures are lifting off, or lifting up again. So overall, very mild period coming up for the next couple of weeks, you have to say, in terms of those upper air temperatures. The precipitation, lots of dry weather at the moment. Some rainfall coming up over the weekend, and then it looks like we're going to quite dry once again. Not completely dry, there will be some showery bursts coming through, but overall it is looking pretty warm, pretty dry for the next couple of weeks. Temperature anomalies reflecting this. So this is the temperature anomaly going from today, the 26th of March, through to the 3rd of April. That's coming out milder than average. Notice Russia is going quite cold, so there's some cold air coming down there. But for us, looks like a pretty mild, if not fairly warm week coming up. The precipitation anomaly for next week, that also more or less is drier than average. It's a bit wetter down to the southwest perhaps, but most places on the average to dry than average side. So this is how the GFS sees things for Thursday. Low pressure is developing out in the Atlantic, starting to break down the ridge. That's going to give us a dry start to the coming week. So it turns a little bit more unsettled later in the week with some rain in the north and west. The southeast will hang on to those dry conditions for a little while longer. Into next weekend, it does turn properly unsettled. This is Saturday the 1st of April when a trough is coming through the country. So a bit of an unsettled start to April. We saw it on the GFS ensembles. There will be some rainfall coming up next weekend. After that, the high pressure builds back up from the Azores again, so any cloud and rain gets pushed off towards western Scotland and Northern Ireland. Most places are turning dry, fine and very mild there into the first week of April. That looks a little bit stormy there around Tuesday 4th of April. That might bring some gales to the far north of Scotland, but for England and Wales, we're still close to the Azores high. And we go up towards day 10. This is day 10, Wednesday 5th of April, where we've still got high pressure dominating to the south, keeping England and Wales mostly dry. It's a little bit more unsettled for Scotland and Northern Ireland. Finally, the East GWV, so high pressure still clinging on close to the southeast on Thursday. Low pressure's out to the northwest, bringing rain. That low pressure advances in at the end of the week and into next weekend. This is Saturday 1st of April. Looks genuinely unsettled. There'll be showers or longer spells of rain associated with this trough just here. Into certainly the 2nd of April, a week away, and then the first sort of working week of April, Monday 3rd, we find high pressure re-establishing from the Azores high again, pushing the unsettled conditions back up towards Scotland and Northern Ireland. And then we keep quite a lot of anticyclonic weather into the first week of April, so this takes us to day 10, Wednesday 5th of April, where we've got high pressure very close to us. It's just out to the southwest, so a little bit of cooler air coming around the top of that high pressure into northern Scotland, but essentially most places are looking dry there through that first week of April. So that's the GWV Sunday Roundup done and dusted for you. Hope you found it interesting and informative. We're going to have plenty of dry weather over the next 2 or 3 days. Then it turns a little bit more unsettled at the end of the week and into the first weekend of April. And then I think we'll go back to mostly dry conditions again as we get through that first week of April. Don't forget to check out the summer roundup in terms of the seasonal models. Don't forget to have a look at that. It'll place that video on the summer updates page later on today, and there'll be a written report that goes with that as well. And it's a lovely sunny Sunday. It's Mother's Day, of course, so get out and enjoy that sunshine. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.